Well, hey there, Heather. How are you today?
I am doing great. I'm so excited to talk to you.
I am so excited as well that we finally have said what one of these days, or we'll get around to it, and
Hmm.
we're finally getting together and doing and starting a podcast. Can
Yep.
I get a week with you? When we first met, I think one of the things that drew us together is the importance of our words, the power of our words, and how they can really have an impact on everything. And so, after several weeks, maybe months of kicking this thing around, I'm very excited to be with you, and let's just have a good time. Let's share some information. Let's hopefully we'll have a community that'll join us here, and those that are looking for
Hmm.
change in mindset and want to lean on the power of their words to get some tricks
Hmm.
to do that.
Well, maybe it might be good to kind of let people know how we got connected and maybe why we thought our messages might match up, because I feel like it was a pretty divine connection after we read each other's stuff. It was kind of like you took what I was saying, put it into words, and mine were kind of an expansion of a lot of those same words. So maybe that would be kind of a
Yeah, I
place to
mean,
start.
a mutual friend connected us, Bill Schomburg. Shout out to Bill, who's a reason for a lot of connections. That's right. Way to go, Bill. Thank you so much. And I connected because I really think that this is an opportunity. There's a real opportunity right now, and we did sort of align just in our initial conversations, um,
Mhm.
to step into who we're really intended to be. And I
Mhm.
think there's a bigger power, right, for me and you, and I know it's our faith that really calls on us to step into being the best we possibly can be and use our gifts and our skills and our talents to share and serve others, and that will in fact give us a fulfilled life. And I think often we hold back on that because of things like self-limiting beliefs, or
Mhm.
like you said, life gets in the way, or just we tell ourselves maybe we're not capable or we're not strong enough, we don't have enough. And so I really want to encourage folks through this podcast to have everybody just think about, you are enough, you have everything you need, and let's try to create some activational steps and tips and ideas and concepts that folks can
Mhm.
can take away with them and put in their lives immediately.
Mhm. And I think you and I cover a lot of this of similar topics, because those are the kind of pressing things on people's souls. Those are common plagues of the heart, as I call them. Some of them are negative, maybe, that we need to work through and give a positive solution for. But I think that our messages coincide pretty well, with your book and my book, Soul-Selfie. Um, I think that it's going to be fun to be able to unpack some of the things together, some things that we both have written about and thought about, probably more than normal people should think about these things.
Yeah.
But
I think if we can impact one life with each episode, we've certainly done
Mhm.
something that I will feel good about. Right, one person that starts thinking about an opportunity differently, or a relationship, or how they're handling something. There may just be a simple word or a phrase or something that can then develop from something they do. One day, then another day, and
Mhm.
develop a habit, and ultimately, they see a shift in their mindset to become more of what they want to be and less of what might be holding them back.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, I think it'll be fun for you and me. And like you said, I hope that at least one person can listen in and maybe make some changes, or just feel even hopefully affirmed in what you're doing. It's all about how you're not doing it right and you should do it different. It's maybe we're going to say what you've thought all along, or what you have been practicing already in your own life. So I think it'd be
Yeah, I,
cool.
I want this to be encouraging, right? And we're gonna kind of kick these things off, and we're gonna do a series, and then we'll see where this goes. I think we may be very interested in open this up to some guests and some folks that we want
Mhm.
to bring to the audience that we found that's impacted our lives from outlook and self reflection and all of that. Because right now, to me, it's all about what can we do to take the gifts that we have, do the
Mhm.
most with them, and impact the world.
Yep. It's
Well, we
awesome.
thought about it. We landed on some words, and why don't we go ahead and get started? We landed on some of these words that are
Mhm.
behind me, And we kind of call it, sometimes it's how we see things. And as everyone jumps in here and kind of gets to know us a little bit better, we hang on a single word, a phrase, two syllables together, and then just it sort of evolves into something. So we started out with just some words that start with the letter C. And one of the things I think that I see as sometimes a challenge, a struggle, is that we often really push back when we're asked or we're facing a change. And so I'd love to dive into that word a little bit. What does that mean to you when you think of change, or when you've been going through some things in your life?
Well, I think that, obviously this last year, our whole world has undergone so much change at a very fast pace, whether we wanted it or not. Unfortunately, it's right in front of us, and how we handle change and grow accordingly really makes a difference in our mental health and the peace and the serenity that we either have or don't have. But I was thinking, Bruce, one thing that might be kind of a good idea for this first episode that we're doing is, you and I both have written books, and both of those were definitely a result of some major life change. So maybe this would be a good time to kind of introduce, let you talk for a few minutes about your book and what prompted that. And, it started years ago, but it's come to fruition even more so recently. And then I can maybe share a little bit about mine. That might just kick us off and let people know who the heck we are. Who are these people? Who do you think you are?
That'd be great. That'd be great. So my book, which is called Above the Chatter, Our Words Matter, Powerful Words That Changed My Life Forever, started as a daily writing ritual, if you will, after losing a job. 25 years I was with in the healthcare technology industry and experienced a huge layoff. I was part of that. And one morning I woke up and a word was pounding in my head. I kind of always was intrigued by words, but never really did much writing or did anything formal. But I wrote the word vertically, strong. And it became stand tall, remain optimistic, now go for it. So I just used the letters of the word to define it. And then I tried to activate that word. So strong meant a lot of things, right? But that day in that moment, it meant that I needed to do those 6 things: stand tall, remain optimistic, now go for it. So I had to strengthen myself. I had to be positive, and then I had to take a step. I had to start. So that journey of writing continued for over a year and like 13 months, 420 consecutive days. And what I learned in that process was that a single word could impact everything for me. It could trigger my day. It could set me up for encouragement, or it could also tear me down if it wasn't something that was, treating me the right way, or I wasn't thinking about it the right way. And so one of the words in the book, and also in my TED talk I use, is the word change. And I'll define it for how I did it in the TED, but I've also got a way we can talk about it today, which is another way. When we're looking at change, I realized that I could look at this job shift, this impact on my family, impact on my career, impact on everything around me as, oh no, I can't handle another negative, gut-wrenching experience. That's one way to look at change, and often we do, especially if we're kind of in a groove, a routine, right?
Right. Oh man, I love that. That's a great acrostic.
And then I said, no, wait a minute. I've got to, if I stay there, nothing improves. If I stay there, it actually gets worse. If I resist it, if I feel like I'm the victim, if I want to rewind the reel for that morning and say, no, wait a minute, you must have meant somebody else, that wasn't going to happen. So I looked at change a different way, and I said, circumstances have altered, now get engaged. Just another way to look at change. I couldn't do anything about what had occurred, the impact, right? I could, or the result, I guess, of that decision. But what I could do is I could say, hey, these circumstances have now altered. I've got to get myself engaged in the situation. Just 2 ways to look at change. And, I think we're all going through that. And that's really what kind of triggered my mind around, wow, a single word can have such an impact. And that's why we want to kind of take a episode a week and say, hey, can I have a word with you? And we'll drop one in and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. I love that. Ooh, those are good, really good acrostics. And I love that, I love the timing of this word and introducing this word for the beginning of all of this, because that's really where it started. Is you were kind of forced to make a change, and
Right.
how you chose to do that ended up changing your life for the better. And it will change your life whether you it just depends on how you engage in it. It can change your life, and you could be doing what you're doing now, or you could have just laid down or started, using other means to numb out, or, get depressed. And I am very impressed with what you did with the circumstances that you were dealt, and you didn't
Well,
give up.
yeah, well, thank you, and I do believe you're right that we
Mhm.
can't always control the circumstances. That's actually one of our words for a future
Mhm.
episode. Can't control.
Oh, that's my favorite word.
What can we do, right? What
Yeah,
can we do when something changes? We
yeah.
can control how we step into it, how we deal with
Mhm.
it, how we, maybe we go through it, maybe we go around it, maybe we go over it. But it's something that we have to do. We have to take action.
Yeah.
And for you,
Well, yeah, I also was kind of given that opportunity to change. And a lot of things in my world were shifting and changing when, kind of out of nowhere, had I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia in 2015. And as a result of that, we started a blog just to update people on the status of my cancer. And that morphed into, because you can really only talk about that for so long without going crazy yourself. And I, just started reflecting on what was happening and dialoguing with kind of myself and with God. And, eventually I started putting it out there to people who were reading my blog. And it was about what was happening in my soul. And one of the things that I felt like God revealed to me when I was in the hospital, I was in about 70 days total. But at the beginning of it, I really sensed him saying, Heather, you are a full time job. And you need to stop focusing on everybody else's behavior and either judging it or trying to imitate it, and just worry about yourself. And I'm going to show you some things that might help you. And you can take what I teach you or what I share with you and share it with other people to help them get through what they're going through. So, fast forward to 2018, I ended up publishing my first 120 blog posts into a book called Soul-Selfie. And then I just in November this year, published my second book called Soul-Selfie #No Filter. And it's what I call kind of the aftermath. And it's just really more of the same. A lot of ways, I cover all those words we're going to talk about. If you go to my blog site, you can read those by category. You'll see pretty quickly what kinds of things I struggle with the most, because there'll be extensive blog posts on those topics. So, but yeah, I mean, I could have, again, like you, chosen the easier, softer way, which is to just give into it and feel sorry for yourself. And, um, uh, I just felt like that wasn't what God had for me. And I knew that if I trusted the process and trusted him with it, that, we could do something to help someone else, even when I was still sick.
well, you certainly, man, you certainly made it an opportunity. You turned a stumbling block into a stepping stone that obviously you had to take care of yourself, and yet you were a
Mhm.
full time job, but you're also able to develop and create these messages that you've shared so many of them with me, and just to uplift, right? So he gives us a mess to turn into something that we can dive into, and
Mhm.
ultimately, most of the time, I've found that it makes me stronger. It absolutely allows me to give to others, and the return and the help of that has just been so bi-directional. It's been incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we are willing to lean into the change, inevitably you're going to have to accept it. I think that's one of the things I've learned, is that acceptance is the answer to all your problems. Whether you like it or not, that's not really the point. But accepting it as a reality is what will help you get to the other side of that, what helps you, get underneath it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I know when COVID first hit, for example, I had a really hard time, and I just kept saying this phrase, I just can't get under it. Kind of like it was this giant rock or boulder that had been placed in my life. And, if I could just get under it a little, I could start moving it and getting it rolling and getting some forward motion. And for a long time, I just had a hard time getting underneath it. And I think that's one of the things that's hardest with changes, because I couldn't accept it. I didn't want to. It didn't change whether or not it was here or how it was affecting us. I just didn't want to accept it. And so acceptance definitely allows you to get underneath it and get that ball rolling forward.
Well, sometimes we need to create our own change, and it could be as
Mhm.
simple as, maybe we are going back to work in a hybrid model. One simple thing of change would be drive to the office on a different route, right?
Mhm.
Or when you go to the grocery store, instead of going left to right aisles, go right to left aisles. It's just an interruption in a pattern can help you, start your own change, can help you deal with the change. It can help you kind of, what I call, kind of get comfortable being uncomfortable with things. Like,
Yeah.
if things are uncomfortable and you're comfortable with that, it means you're starting to say, okay, change is maybe more of a process in my life.
Mhm.
Then the hidden opportunities in change are just there to start blossoming. It's what I found, right? I was forced into making a change of career, which then started the writing, which then started, the sharing the writing, and then things do start moving.
Right.
If I were to resist that, then I would be spending all of my energy towards not wanting the change, which really I didn't want. But when things started
Yeah.
happening, when I go in action, and action's another word I love, Heather,
Mhm.
because in the word
Mhm.
action, the middle letter is I, the first three letters are act, and the last two letters are on. So I have to act on something, and that's what causes action. So
Mhm.
that's what I had to do. I just had to start taking some kind of action. When I did, I truly believe also that God likes to hit moving targets with His blessings. So if we're in motion, there's a
Right.
chance that He's gonna just zap us with ideas, with thoughts,
Mhm.
with direction, with where He wants us to be.
Yeah, I love that what you said about really, I mean, acceptance is on one end of the spectrum and resistance. And sometimes we have a choice of how we react to them all, but we don't have a choice to make them real or not real. I mean, they just are. And it's been a hard year to accept a lot of the things that are happening, but the sooner we can accept them and take some action, um, that things happen in this world. This one, I remember writing a blog post once, and it was called "Things Happen," and it's just basically saying things happen. That's all they ever do. What you do with those things is entirely up to you.
Yes. Yes. So strong. So, we're kind of introduced each other a little bit for this first
Mhm.
episode. We've kind of talked a little bit about our journey.
Mhm.
We each have our books, Soul-Selfie in the series, and mine, Above the Chatter, Our Words Matter. We love speaking. We love sharing. I guess if I were to give anyone listening to this program a way to kind of look at change, I'd love to summarize my aspect, and then maybe you give some words of wisdom about how you deal with change, and then we'll
Mhm.
wrap this up and let folks get on their way. What do you think about that?
That sounds great.
All right. So I wrote change another way specifically for this program because
Mhm.
I think if we really want to lean into change, it's more than just saying circumstances have altered, now get engaged, or it's more than putting the brakes on and saying can't handle another gut wrenching experience,
Mhm.
negative experience. I look at change a different way. How can I go about starting to either accept a change or to make a change that I want in my life? So again, I write the word vertically, and this is how I came up with change a third way. So
Mhm.
the C is to challenge disruptively. So if you're looking for a change, maybe look at the way things are and go after them and challenge them, and look at disruptive ways that you can move things around in your mind and in your steps and what you're actually doing. Number two, whenever there's change, the H to me is help endlessly. If you can look to serve someone else, serve a greater cause, serve a community, serve someone or something when you're adjusting or adapting or trying to make this change, and do that endlessly, that's going to also open opportunities for you. The A for change was act compassionately. You're going through a change or you're trying to make a
Mhm.
change, but keep in mind that everyone around
Mhm.
you is also dealing with a change. And then the N is navigate pragmatically. I kind of see this crossing a stream where you've got some stones that you can, put one foot on to get your footing, and then another foot, and then another foot. So just navigate with some pragmatism in your process. You've got experience, use that experience as you navigate. The G is get after it tenaciously. If you do not quit, you cannot lose. So keep pushing for that. That's the get after it tenaciously is G. And then the E is engage passionately. Find something in the change that you're making, or that is maybe been thrust on you, and find something as your outlet, or you're changing your navigation, that allows you to bring your passion, something you sincerely care about and want to move forward. So that's one way I would say let's look at change is that way. We'll post this in the show notes so folks can see that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll have to write that down when we get done so I can, because that one's probably not in your book yet.
Not in the book
Your
yet.
other ones probably are.
That's right.
I'll write it
Yes.
in the back of the book. I'll add it.
Okay,
To what
sounds
I have.
good. Sounds good.
Yeah, and I would just, it's hard to even follow that, Bruce. But I guess what I would say is, well, to piggyback on what you said earlier, is I think it's really important to remember to practice change, to have a growth mindset. That's what they call it. That's kind of the catchphrase now, the growth mindset. And what it means is that you are a person who's willing to adapt and change to new circumstances that come your way. And for me, I found that just trusting that even though I did not like the changes that were happening at the time, that I knew there was a reason for them. And that if I lean into those, that God will show me the reason, and He will use me, and He'll redeem that stuff that maybe I'm not excited about, and use it for something good in my life and ultimately in the life of other people. So that's one thing. And I also think it's important to remember that um, when we change, it affects everyone around us. So if you are a person who's wanting to make some big changes, you have to remember that every action brings on a reaction, often from other people. Um, we need to surround ourselves with other people. Like Bruce is someone that's in my world because he is constantly changing and growing and learning. And we want to surround ourselves with other people who are doing similar types of things, who are heading in a direction, maybe even a little further down the road, so we can jump in and jump on that into that change along with them. And don't feel discouraged if people in your life, they might not like your change. If you're going to start going to bed early and that's going to affect you going out with friends late, they're not going to like that, and they're probably going to push back. It might be within your own household. You're going to start getting up early. Maybe other people in your household don't like that, or it feels threatening to them in some way. Just remember to keep your focus on what you need to do, and not be discouraged or distracted by other people who aren't ready for that change. And that's fine, but that they're going to be on their own path as well. But just stick to what you are feeling called to do.
Wow, I think that's really powerful. Practice change, surround yourself with those that are also embracing change, and be aware of your surroundings, that's not everybody's cup of tea. And
Right.
you might get some pushback, but stick with it. Wow. Well, I think that's a great way to wrap our first episode, Heather. Can I get a word with you? So thank you. This is so much fun. And we'll put some things here in the show notes. And if you like this, comment, share it out. Let folks know that we're here to get a word with you each week. Thanks, and have a great day.